a couple of things to begin with. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat, right? And we will try to answer them toward the end of my session, which is going to be approximately an hour, and then at the or at the end of Ruchika's session. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So my name is Dennis Ortiz. I think maybe I know some of you because some of you are my students, but I have been, well, let's get into this first. So let's get into the agenda. So, and I know you probably have a lot of questions about the May cancellation and what the impact is going to be. And I will address that when the time comes. First of all, we'll talk about vital info on the SAT, meaning what you need to know to do well. Then we're going to talk about strategies and maybe some sample problems. And finally, we're going to talk about how the prison review can help, especially now with the current situation. We are expanding our online options. Yes, so that is me. So you can go ahead and read that. Well, I tell you that, yeah, I've been living and working in the Gulf in general, mostly the UAE, but the Gulf in general, Bahrain and Saudi as well, for about 15 years. Before that, I lived in New York, where I also did work for the Prison Review. And I am a master trainer, which means that I train teachers as well as students. So I know that which of I speak. Okay. So what is the SAT? Well, the SAT is a college admissions test, right? And I just want to give you a sense, and we'll talk more later about what the scores are, and I'm sure most of you know this, but I just want to give you a sense that the SAT isn't just a score. I mean, you see a score, but it like everything these days, it offers data, and it offers data to universities, some of which you may or may not be aware of. So I just want to give you that sense. But anyway, the SAT is a college admissions test. It includes primarily verbal, which is reading, comprehension, and writing, which is essentially grammar. And then there are two math sections. Can we see the screen? No. What is, anyway, moving on. Let me go to the next page. So what does the SAT measure? And this is admission tests in general, okay? So does the SAT measure intelligence? No, good. Can it be used to award aid? What do we mean by aid? We mean financial aid primarily. Can't see him or the presentation.
That's not possible.
That's
Somebody must have.
Can you guys, I know you guys can't see me, but can you see the presentation? Yes? Can you guys see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Yes? Yes, you can. Yes, okay. All right. Yes. 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 Okay. So for the person who said no, I don't know what the problem is, but I think you need to turn on something. All right. So, sorry about that. So, can it be restored aid? Yes. Does it reflect your GPA in high school? And you already saw that, but no, it doesn't. And let me just tell you a story. In fact, in approximately 2016, 2015, 2016, there was a study which showed, which tried to link your GPA of boys and girls or men and women. Good, thank you. Boys and girls or men and women with how they perform in high school and how they would do in college, which is also the next topic, right? Predict your college GPA. So now the point is that for many years, and even now still, boys or men tend to do better on the SAT than girls by a slight margin, but that's always the case. And there are a number of reasons for that. Not certainly not because boys are smarter, but because they, by and large, take greater risks. So they're rewarded for that by the SAT. But nevertheless, but first semester college grades, when they looked at those first semester college grades, women or girls did infinitely better than boys. So it just goes to show you that, you know, the SAT purports to both reflect your high school GPA and predict your college GPA, and it really does neither. Can it be prepared for? Well, yes, it can be prepared for. Should it be prepared for? Yes, true. And the last question, does it test what you've learned in high school? So I wonder if you guys, those of you who are on, can tell me whether the SAT tests what you've learned in high school. Especially those of you who've taken a diagnostic. No. Well, okay. Anyone else? No. Okay. Yeah, okay. So you say yes. So, you know, the point is that's a question mark. Because, for example, depends, correct. So for math, for example, just to give an example, you do have to understand content, right? So and fairly high level content, like not calculus, but algebra, advanced algebra actually. You do need to understand something of that, and that is usually taught in high school. But the point is that once the SAT takes that topic, it asks the question in a particular way, which most of you, I believe, are not necessarily trained for. Okay? So, how is the SAT scored? So, the math, again, is 200 to 800. Evidence-based reading and writing is 2 to 800, so it gives you a total of 400 to 1600. And I think that's pretty common knowledge in general. But as I said earlier, there are lots of subscores, which this presentation doesn't get into, but there's lots of subscores, including a cross-section between science and social studies. So they look at your scores and say, they look at your answers and say, okay, this kind of question is a social studies question, which it might be a math question, right? But it appears under the social studies headings. So that's just one of the many, many pieces of data that the SAT offers. So what is a good SAT score? So I have my own answer to that. But I want you guys to tell me if you know what a good SAT score is. 1200 and above. Yeah, I'm with you. Like I think 1200, Yasmin, is like essentially the beginning. It's just the beginning though. It's the beginning of a competitive score, 600 and 600. But maybe, maybe you don't even need that. Or maybe you need much more than that. Anyone else? Depends on the correct. The state depends on the college and the state. Yes. Depends on the person. Well, yeah, and depends on what you need the SAT for, right? If you're going to, for example, let's pick a random elite school. Let's say I'm sick of Harvard, so let's say Stanford, right? You're going to need probably 1550 plus. But if you want to go to, let's say, University of Washington, right? So that would be maybe 1400 plus. So, right? So, and then going down the line, right? So it depends on what you need it for. And here is on this page some universities and or colleges and their SAT score. Now these SAT scores are quite high because they're linked to scholarship dollars, right? So they're not going to give you free money if you don't perform the way they want you to. But at the top are Columbia and Duke, which are very similar. And then fourth, I'll come back to the colleges in a minute. Fourth is Stanford University, right? Which is 1560. Now, Williams College and Pomona College, by the way, if you saw my bio, you know that I went to Williams College. So Williams College is, most international kids don't know this, but don't know these schools, but they're liberal arts colleges. They're called the Little Ivies. Anyway, Williams College is approximately 1480. And Pomona, which is out in California, also a liberal arts college, by the way, is approximately 1490. And these are the average merit award that you can get. Because of course, merit is, just to give you a vocabulary check, merit award means that you perform at a certain level, so they give you money for that, right? There are other kinds of scholarships, for example, like sports scholarships, right, which are not merit-based, right? Hi, Ruchika is the maximum number at 26. So what do you say to? Yes, Himanshu. Okay. Yeah, this chart is fantastic. So what is on the SAT? As I said, it's verbal, where I said reading comprehension, and grammar, which is called the writing. And then there are two math sections, which calculator and no calculator. And then there's the essay, which I want to talk about for a second. But first of all, the reading, let's start with the reading, which is the first test, because this is the order in which this test occurs, right? So the first thing you do, or you will do, on that Saturday morning, probably in June, but we'll get to that, 65 minutes and 52 questions. Now, I just want to make a point, that's a lot. Even if you are a skilled reader, that is a lot. Writing and language is 35 minutes and 44 questions. And then, and this is just the grammar, which is why it's it's approximately sort of 0.48 minutes per question. The math is broken down to two sections. First, there's a no calculator section, which, by the way, even though many of my students dread the no calculator section, they end up liking it. Because the no calculator section, because ETS understands, ETS, who are the people who write this test, understand that you don't have a calculator, then actually the questions are somewhat easier. However, the calculator question, which if you notice is almost twice as long, right? Or more than twice as long, actually. And it's 38 questions. So that you can use a calculator, but as I said, the questions, especially toward the end of the section, get kind of tricky. Now, as I said, I wanted to speak about the essay. Now, as far as I understand, and this is from a stateside point of view, because that's my experience, but my understanding is that only the California system requires the essay. Now, there's a couple of caveats that go with that. One, so most top schools, even if they don't require the essay, will probably require a writing sample. And what I mean by a writing sample, it means, and for those of you in, for example, IB programs, you're in luck, or AP programs or some such. But because, you know, what they want is like an essay that you've worked on, and they want multiple drafts with teachers' comments on them, etc., etc. So if you don't have that and you don't feel that you're going to get that, an opportunity to write that kind of essay, then I would do the essay, right? So anyway, that's just my caveat about that. What about the ACT? Now, this is quick. Yeah, I'll answer that question in later. The ACT is essentially different from the SAT, but it's essentially the same. In fact, I'm not familiar with the ACT, or was not familiar with the ACT until I came out here, because I'm from New York City, of course, and New York City is SAT land. It still is today. But California, as far as I understand, because I've had a few friends from California, is ACT land. And I'll just, so as you see on the screen, the content areas are math, obviously, reading, which is the same as the SAT, writing, by which, and actually they refer to it as English. So what English is on the ACT is the same as writing is on the SAT. In other words, grammar. It's essentially grammar. And then there's a science section. Now, don't let that freak you out, because the science section is pretty much how to read a chart. And you don't actually have to know specific scientific areas, such as in biology, chemistry, physics, etc. But you do need to understand how to read a chart, and you need to understand some basic scientific knowledge, like how to use the scientific method, etc., etc. But other than that, it's the same. Now, a couple of things. Now, you notice the scoring, right? So it's 1 through 36. And I think that in this part of the world, I think that's one of the problems of the ACT, right? Because if you get a 35 composite score, which by the way is a fantastic score, right? I think parents will be like, oh, my daughter got a 35. And it doesn't sound as impressive as saying my daughter got a 1500. That's just my opinion. But anyway, so yeah, and the other issue is that the ACT, as I just mentioned, has a composite score. The SAT doesn't. So essentially, you can hide if you're weak in math or reading or writing or science, you can hide that, so to speak. If you do better on the other three sections, your average will be brought up because the score that's reported is the composite score. So, and just before I move on from this, just to give you a sense, in the US, I believe it's been like 4 years now that the ACT is much more popular than the SAT, just to give you a sense. Anyway, so, yes, so the majority of four-year colleges will actively give out academic merit-based dollars based on two criteria. One is clearly your high school GPA, which is it's actually one of the most important things, important components, if you will, of your application. But the second criterion is our SAT and or ACT scores. Okay. So preparation and planning are key, especially now, right? So I don't know I know I have students, I don't know what grade you're in, but if you're in 10th grade, and we'll have a screen later, which kind of tells you how you should be preparing and in a timeline. But if you're in 10th and 11th grade, clearly there's still time. So you should both prepare and plan. Amongst which, because amongst the reasons you should prepare is that actually just is what's happening, right? You don't know, we never know. So for example, the May test was just canceled, right? So, and even though there will be most likely a June replacement, wouldn't have been good if you took let's say the December exam, if you're like, for example, in 12th grade, right? So now this is primarily not just for students, this is for parents. Okay, and I'm going to stay on this screen for a while because there's a lot of information that I can give you here. Now, this is basically our 5-step process for how we get you to get to a top score, right? Number one, and it's primary, is content knowledge, right? Which is essentially what you learn in school. But for example, in math, I have a lot of students who haven't done certain topics, right? Especially if they're younger, especially if they're in 10th grade. For example, they won't have done, I don't know, quadratic equations or parabolas, same thing. But anyway, so I have to fill in that content knowledge, right? And then I can move on to the technique. Okay. But the second part of it, and actually I think this is most important, is strategy. This is before technique. By strategy, I mean what to answer in how much time, and what to leave, for example, to the end. So you've got to think strategically the entire time you're taking this test, right? So for example, let's use reading comp as an example, because I've been using math as an example, right? So one of the things that I tell my students is that, first of all, we don't read the passage. So if you've not taken a course with me, that may come as a shock to you. We don't read the passage first, right? We go to the questions first because we're looking for specific versus general questions. And by specific questions, I mean those kinds of questions which you do not need to read the whole passage to answer, right? And then once you answer all of those questions, then you go back and answer the general questions, which are like main idea questions or primary purpose questions. So that is an important part of strategy, right? Going a little bit deeper, I offer my students a 5-fold process of elimination. So basically, when you're down to 2 answers, a lot of students, when they come to my class, they just go back and they redo the question and read the passage again, or the place of the passage they should go to again, only to, they do it all again, only to come up 5 to 8 minutes later, which is a lot of time on this test, would come back to the same place, right? So I encourage them to think strategically. So that's an important important aspect of the training. Then there's technique, and technique, there are many, right? I mean, I've just given you one technique for reading. Clearly for math, there are many more techniques for writing as well. But you know, we offer a specific way to do questions, right? And then there's practice and analysis. Now, practice includes homework, yes, a lot of it, but also the practice tests. And I just want to make this plea for those of you, the audio is gone bad. So I don't know what to do about that. Someone said the audio has gone bad. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So I'm breaking out. Oh, okay. So anyway, I will continue, and I'll try to be clear. If I'm not clear, okay. So it's for some of you it's clear. So thank you. So anyway, practice, and then practice means you practice tests, for example, like full-length tests. And analysis means that you should, and again, I want to make this clear at the beginning, for those of you who have not taken a course and may end up taking a course, I want to make a plea for analyzing your results. And only you can do this. I mean, I can guide you, of course. I or any of the other teachers can guide you, but you have to actually do the work, right? You should go through the test with as I say, a fine-tooth comb. You should understand, even if you got it mostly correct, even if you got like 1500, you should understand, you know, why you made certain decisions. And of course, you doubly if those decisions were wrong decisions, right? So you should analyze that and think about, is it a content weakness? Was it a strategy weakness? Was there a technique you could use? Again. And the last part is confidence, which is, I think, self-explanatory, but endurance as well. And this is why we also give you diagnostics, because this is, if you write the essay, it's essentially a 4-hour test. If you don't write the essay, it's about 3:15 or something like that. Still long, right? But you have to last that long and be that focused for that period of time, right? So that's where endurance comes in. Okay, so this is fun part. So, as you see here, so the SAT requires testing savvy, which means that you should understand the protocols through which questions are asked, right? So, and this is just a joke, but if you see this page, it says name the quadrilateral. And if you take, I don't know if you can see this, I think you can. You see that this particular student, whose name is Hope apparently, has put Bob and Harry and Kate right? So that's a joke. But anyway, and this is certainly something that made the memes maybe 10 years ago, right? Find X. And the student has circled X and said, here it is. Now, that's a joke, but this is not. So guys, I want to ask you guys to think of a number, any number, right? And then if you could tell me what that number is. Oh, let's make it more precise. Give me a number from 1 to 100. And if you guys, 7, good. 76, good. 5, and on, good, 55, 91, yes, 9, 93, 45, 99, 98, 69. Any others? 32. Okay, so thank you guys. Now, what I said was numbers. I did not say integers, but you all gave me integers. 42, also an integer, right? Because most of us think counting numbers when I say 1 to 100, especially. But root 2 is a number, right? Pi is a number. What else? 1/2 is a number. And it's between 1 and 100. Now, that's the point, right? People are predictable. Like, you know, I said number, but, and most of you are trained to think, 1, 2, 3, 4. But actually, you know, you have to distinguish between integers and numbers more generally. Now, question, what do cows drink? So you can tell me in the, oh, good. Oh, okay, they're right. So usually people say milk, which I realize is, you know, that's a joke. So he left. All right, water, and no, just water, because yeah, well, just water, I believe, because cows don't actually drink milk. Anyway, that's the idea, right? The idea is that people are predictable. Cows produce milk, cows drink water. Yeah. So SAT writers expect you to respond in a predictable way. Here at last is a question. Okay? Thanks, guys. So you can read this question to yourselves, because I think you can look at it. But I want you guys to give me an answer if possible. Mm-hmm. 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 Good. You remember it. Yes. Okay. So those of you who said 5% or 15% have fallen for a trap. Those of you who said 2% are correct. Because, and let me explain, because if a store raises the price of an item by 20%, so I'm going to introduce you just a little bit to a technique we use called plugging in, right? So let's say the item is $100, right? So we raise it by 20%, right? So that's $120, correct? Okay. And then decrease the new price by 15%. But remember, guys, 15% of what, right? because percents are not real numbers. 15% of 120. So then what was the percent change of the item? Ultimately, it's 2%, right? But if you're doing this question, even if you know how to do it, but you're rushing, which you will be, by the way, you may misfire, right? And that's why you kind of do need training. Okay. So this is the pacing chart again, guys. I just want you to note on the right-hand side, there's an added measure of time per question, right? So in reading, you have 75 seconds, give or take. I mean, it doesn't mean that, you know, after 75 seconds, the question shuts off. But if you want to complete everything, approximately 75 seconds, as I said, with writing a language, 48 seconds or 0.4, right? 75 seconds for the math no calculator, 87 seconds for the math calculator, and of course the essay is the essay. Now, so let's talk about another key piece of strategy. Do you remember I mentioned that strategy is when you do what questions and what do you skip and et cetera, et cetera. So this is, I believe, the math section. So you've got a little bunny rabbit because this person essentially did all the questions, right? But only got 26 correct and 32 incorrect. Now, that's not necessarily, well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, only because now, prior to 2015, there used to be a guessing penalty. For those of you who have older siblings or even your parents, remember the guessing penalty. I remember the guessing penalty, which is when you got something wrong, you get minus a quarter point off the score you already have. But that's not true anymore. Nevertheless, because the student rushed through, right, probably made some silly errors and got 32 incorrect, right? So, by the way, that's approximately a 540. Now, the turtle, right, because slow and steady wins the race. I'm sure you all know that story. Now, 38 attempted and got 30 correct, which is a 580, right? So, and 20 just guessed, right? Just letter of the day, as I call it. And theoretically, the turtle, the slower person kind of focused more, right, on 38 questions and didn't really even work 20, but got a higher score. So that's another piece of strategy. Yeah. And then +4 would be, no, I'm not muted. Not that I know of. Am I clear to everyone? Yes, okay. Yes. Just checking. All right. So the right coach makes all the difference. So, no, I know you mean the percentage. No, I'm not muted. Anyway, the right coach makes all the difference, which means that certainly I can guide you, or anyone here can guide you through these strategies and techniques and methods. He is in good. Okay. Now, the right coach makes all the difference. Now, for those of you, this is especially for those of you who are students, and especially if you've taken a diagnostic. Good, Theophilus, excellent. So, common mistakes, this is important. And there, by the way, there are many, many common mistakes, but answering questions too quickly. Do you remember we just talked about the rabbit, right? So answering questions too quickly, careless errors, And actually, number 3, so 1, 2, and 4, sorry, misreading the problem. They all go hand in hand. Doing work in your head, I know especially there's some of you who go to certain school systems where you are encouraged to do work in your head, right? In my classroom, if you're not writing it down, you're doing it wrong, right? And the last part is you don't understand what to do. So again, especially if you're not used to an American system of education, you may not understand what the question actually is. Okay? The right prep makes all the difference. Now here, we're again, because we are expanding our online options for obvious reasons, I think. So I'm just going to run through a few, okay? A few newer options. SAT self-paced is basically, this is good, but it's basically our cheapest option. So that is, you get an online student center, which is a website, and that's it, right? We leave you alone, okay? Then we have blended live online, which means you get a website as well, but you also get, I believe, 8 hours of doubt clearing, or an ability to ask questions, right? The ultimate live online is an 18-hour program, meaning 18 hours online teacher contact. And SAT regular live online would be 36 hours. Okay. One more, the SAT Elite has a 1,500 guarantee, but 2 things. One is that will probably be done by people from the States, and you can only get into that program if you've already got a 1,400. So that's a caveat there, right? If you're at a 1,400, you can join our elite batch. Okay. So here are some examples. So let's this by the way, for those of you who don't know what this is the writing test, right? So this is the grammar portion again. And as I said, this is essentially the same in SAT and ACT. Okay. So okay, yes, correct. So when any of these changes occur, I'm going to read that sentence, comma, it is likely the result of careful analysis conducted by transportation planners. Now, I'm not going to get too much into this, but I would say that you ask yourselves, what is changing in the answer choices? Well, one thing that's obviously changing is the pronouns, right? It, they, it. Okay. And the other thing I would say is that even though the underlined portion is key, you have to pay attention to the non-underlined portion to see what should go there. Okay. So when any of these changes occur, so guys, I want you guys to try. I've given you 2 kind of tips. Maybe. D, okay. Yes, A, okay. So there's real conflict. I like that. Okay. Good. Now, anyone else? Okay, so let's reveal. Now, any one of the changes occur. No, Theophilus, because when any one, right? So the the referent of the pronoun is 1, not changes. Right? So we eliminate A and B and C. And the answer is D. A number of you said D, but that's correct. Right? So number 2 and number 3, guys. Yeah, 2C. Well, hold on, let's see. And then do 3 as well. B. So a B for 2 or 3 just mean 2B. Okay. 2B. Are you guys just going with the whoever's at 2C? Yes. So let me do this. Right? Again, so if you take a look at this, again, as I said, you've got to pay attention to the non-underlined section, right? You can't just look at the underlined section, right? So this is a parallelism issue. So evaluating, assessing, improving, it's clearly designing, right? But you need to know what to look for, right? And last one, number 3, 3D. Good. Anyone else? Three D. Yes. Yes. All right. B. No. So let me tell you why not, Abdul Kareem. Again, let's take a look at A. Sorry. 3. Current road as it is designed at this time. At this time means the same as current, right? So that is repetitive. As is B, current design of the road right now. No, I already eliminated A. B, current and now is the same thing again, right? And let's eliminate that. Yes. And then C, as it is now currently designed. Now and currently mean the same thing again. So the answer is D. It's not difficult, but you need to pay close attention. Okay. Oops. So I think this is the last one. So this is a math problem. Okay. So you guys can read this to yourselves. But beyond reading, what I tell my students, and clearly you can't do this here, but I would tell them to underline valuable information, especially with longer word problems. All right. I'll tell you in 1 second. Okay. Anyone else? So I want you to take a look at Theophilus. I want you to take a look at C. Right? It's 7N plus 129.99 plus 113. If we go back to the question, right? What information do we need to find? Well, we need to find the total cost. So, right? So we keep that in mind. But that's, I would definitely underline that part. Samantha's total cost? Yes. Samantha's total cost. What information do we have? A one-time membership fee of $129.99. An additional $7 fee per session, right? Now, yes, yes, correct. So that's D. But there's a $13 tax on membership. Now, you may note that there isn't a 13% sorry, 30% tax on membership. There's a typo there. But there isn't. So then why does the answer? So why do we eliminate A? Does anyone have an answer to that? Why do we eliminate A? Nobody? Why 0.13 is eliminated? It's because, yeah, Dave. Correct, right? Yes. So we eliminate A and B for the same kind of the same reason, and C as well, right? Because C just adds them up, which that doesn't work. So D is the answer. And so there we go. Yes. See, yeah, see, I agree with you. See, that doesn't make sense. Correct. Okay. Now, this is a quick. How much time do I have? 8 minutes. So this is a quick timeline, as I said earlier, for those of you in 10th grade, and then there'll be another 11th grade on the next screen, right? So I want to say something about the PSAT. Now, the PSAT is a good practice for the SAT, but however, if you're not American, it's not as valuable as it is if you are American, because the PSAT is also the National Merit Qualifying Test, the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. That's its full name, right? And very often you can get money if your PSAT score is quite high, right? And by the way, it's not just like one pool. Like I got money for books when I was an undergraduate, because I scored highly within the Hispanic portion of the population. So anyway, regardless, so you can prep for the October 2020 PSAT, and then plan to take the December 2020 PSAT. Again, this is fall 2022 intake, right? So you prep again, and then you can take the March or the May 2021. Okay, grade 11. Yes. Prep as early as possible before grade 12, obviously. This is where we are. Now, let me just say something about June, and you'll see an asterisk, because I know that the May test has been canceled globally, by the way, not just in Dubai. It was canceled actually within the States for the same reason. Officials at College Board, a particular official at College Board, has said that they will try. So this is why we put asterisks on it. They will very much try to reorganize it for. So March and May got canceled. Yes, March got canceled weeks ago, and May was just canceled 2 days ago or so. We're looking toward June, we think. But as I said, a fairly high-ranking official from College Board has said that they will try for the June test. Again, assuming everyone will be safe and sound at that point. Okay, so let's go with that June SAT. Then you can do the August 2020 SAT. So I just want to make a point because this last date, so October, right? So if you're in 11th grade now, the October date is kind of your last one. Because, if you're going to do early decision or early action, or even, if you just want to be done with it at that point, the December test is rather late. But anyway. Okay, I'm going to finish up 1 second. Let's go back where I am. Sorry. So I just want to make a point because the second presentation will be about admissions more generally, but I just want to make a point about how these 3 items fit into your application, right? So clearly, great grades is number 1, right? Even beyond great test scores, because great grades are, how you actually perform in school. So that's a given. Okay. Now, if we go over to the right-hand side for grade applications, so I want you to consider, especially if you're in 11th grade, you need to start thinking about who's going to write your letters of recommendation, for example, right? And you need to pick somebody who knows you well, who will do the work. And Ruchika will say more about that, I assume, right? Because there's a lot of, educational professionals, I hesitate to call them teachers, but who will type out a letter and say, sign it. That's not good enough, right? You need someone to really work for you. And remember, this is an unpaid position. So you need someone who really likes you. But what my point is that grades and, for example, the recommendation letters, you really don't have that much power over them. Meaning grades, if you're in 11th grade especially, that's almost a fait accompli. Like you're almost done with that, right? And the recommendations as well. You should know for, yes, you can do, but school counselor is not the only person who can give you a recommendation. And in fact, it depends on your what kind of counseling you have, right? But the point I'm making is that you really don't have much control over the first part and the third part. But what you have immediate control over are the test scores, right? That is where you can most dramatically improve your entire application, right? Okay. So I'm going to go toward the end, right? Okay. So, can you come here? I don't know where the questions are. Sorry.
You have already answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but there were some questions that weren't.
Anybody, any further questions?
Yeah, because there were some questions I didn't answer because I left them till the end. Mhm. So there were a couple of questions.
If anybody is having any questions and can put that in chat once again, that would be great.
Yeah. No? Okay, so, well, I believe that now we're going to take a 5-minute break. Is that right? Right? Yeah. So,
what exactly colleges cost, and we will also talk about different forms of supplement college funding, scholarship options, and we will going to share the resources which you can also go through and find out different information. So moving to the next slide. Princeton Interview every year does different surveys with their students, their parents, their school counselors. And during one of our surveys, when we ask our students that how is financial aid actually necessary, so 9 out of 10 students, I would say responses is like, yes, it is necessary. Financial aid will be very or extremely necessary to pay for colleges. And I would say 65% of those responses are like extremely necessary. Moving on to the next slide, which will help you give more understanding of what are the worries these days for our students and families. So the another survey which we did for the student, what exactly they are worrying about when they are going for study abroad, then nowadays in recent years it is more about the debt they will going to, the level of debt they will going to handle when they will go for college. In 2006 it was more about that will they going to get their dream university, will they going to get in the top choice colleges or not. Later it was a mix of will they going to get the top choice and will they be having sufficient fund to attend the college or not. But from 2013 it's data till 2016, but further as well till 2019. Nowadays the concern, the big worry of our students and family, our parents, is more about how much level of debt they will be into while sending their students, their sons, their daughters, or the students who are going there will be when they will going to graduate from the university. So if I'll ask you guys, what do you think that how much the colleges cost per year, their cost of attendance, which includes tuition and living expenditure, approximately what do you think that it would be cost? If you can put it in chat. Anybody? 40,000, 65,000. Any more? 35 to 65, 60,000. Okay, so let's take a look to the survey, which again the Princeton Review did on what exactly students and parents think that how much it may cost. So 85% of the survey estimated that it will cost more than $50,000. And 41% is like more than $100,000. I would like to share here that parents estimated more than what student estimated what would be the cost for 1 year living expenditure and tuition fees to study in the university. It's not about public university or private university, it's an average cost over there. Let's move on to the next slide, which will actually tell us that what does colleges really cost us. So this is the exact figures which we have taken from X university. The name of the university is not here. So if you look at to the left side of the table of the content, you can see there is a tuition fees, which is $45,000 approx. And there are other mandatory charges. For example, which is including health insurance. Even if you have taken your own health insurance, it becomes important once you join the university to take university insurance, which cost approximately $2,000. Then you have room and food charges, that how you will going to live, where will you going to live. So it will cost approximately total of $10,000 or $11,000. So this total cost of attendance, which is listed on the website, is $58,472. On the right side, on the other hand, if you'll see that this is the hidden cost, which we don't exactly calculate while calculating the cost of attendance for any university. Hidden doesn't mean that the university is hiding it from you. It is based on what kind of student you are, how you will going to spend your 1 year in the university. So this estimated additional cost, which we have listed down here, is books and supplies. That is not included in the cost of attendance on the university websites, and books and supplies are actually costly. It may cost you up to $1,500. Definitely, you are having other options wherein you can rent the book. It will cost you lesser. Students rent the book at, $200, $300 book. They can get it on $50 if they'll use the second-hand book. Airfare. Again, it depends that will you going to stay on campus or you will travel to your family. How many trips you will going to make, that absolutely depends on you, and it will cost you approximately $1,000 maybe. Our students always try to visit their kids when they are studying in different countries. So here is the parent visit cost. It may again varies from families to families. So we have kept it as $2,000. Again, when you're traveling to the university, there is a limited amount of things which you can carry. You have to check your baggage, that how is it exactly to weigh, and what is the minimum or maximum which you can take it. So based on the seasons which will going to change, you may need clothing as well. So I have included that also. Then dorm room outfitting. So when you're getting a dorm, it is not a kind of fully furnished dorm. You will going to get a bed, there will be a pair of mattresses, a closet would be there, a drawer would be there, and a desk would be there. But when it comes to that, you have to have a lamp, or maybe you want a alarm clock, or anything you want to furnish it, that you have to buy from outside. So I have included that cost also. Annual cell phone fees is there. Bill is there. Other allowances, maybe you need something more to spend on. Transportation is there in school area if you want. So there are different hidden costs which are available. Personal care, for example, if you're laundering, then at university campus it is expensive. If you want to buy a shampoo or anything for your own personal care, that is not included in the cost of attendance. So emergency funds are required. Weekend travels, if in case you are traveling to your friends who are staying in USA. So when we actually total up the hidden cost, which we have not calculated earlier, it becomes approximately $10,000. So a university costing us $58,000 has now become $68,000. So round trip airfare for international student will be 3x that price. As I said, it's an estimated cost. Just to inform you that what are the hidden costs you should always consider while estimating the cost of the university per year. Moving on to the scholarship options, which is always a question asked by our students, that what all scholarships are available. In this presentation today evening, I will going to cover a few popular countries which you can consider, which our students they look up to, and the scholarship options which are available to these countries I will going to cover. So starting up with the US, there are 3 primary major scholarships which are available at US universities: merit aid, need-based aid, need-blind scholarship. Describing it further, merit-based financial aid. What exactly merit-based financial aid is? In USA, you actually don't apply for merit aid. Merit aid is determined, there are different factors. There is internal mechanism which university follows to give merit aid to the students. It may be, depends on your GPA, on your standardized scores, or maybe on your extracurricular activities. That's all universities are having their own internal policies. These awards are not at all based on your family income. And there is no way accurately you can predict that what kind of merit aid you will going to receive. When you receive the offer letter from the university, it is at that time or maybe a little later, the university will going to notify you that how much merit awards they are giving it to you. So you can say that along with the acceptance letter, you may get some surprises from the university, the good surprises, that what kind of merit aid you are receiving from the universities. Not all the schools offer merit aid, however, some colleges are known to be generous for these awards. So when you're making a list, you have to figure it out that which colleges are offering merit aid and what is the probability, what is the entry requirement. Merit aid, I would say, it is also a complement to a university wherein your GPAs, your standardized tests, your extracurricular activities are adding value to them. So those universities, they are open to offer you merit aid so that you can join the university and add value to the campus. Need-based financial aid. This is the financial aid starts by deciding upon your cost of attendance. So each college will going to calculate what is the cost of attendance, and then they will going to calculate that how much is the expected family contribution to that cost of attendance. Then they subtract that expected family contribution from the cost of attendance and then decide that how much financial aid is required by you. So this is the scholarship which is offered by most of the top public and private university. For international students, there is a CSS form which is available on College Board. To apply for this scholarship, that's the way wherein you will going to fill up this form and apply to the universities. I will share further details on this CSS form, that how you need to look at and what all factors you have to consider while filling up this form. That will come up in the next slide. Need blind financial aid. This is admission term used by the US donating a college admission policy, in which admitting institute does not at all consider what is your financial situation. It is, you also do not have to necessarily means it that it is a full need financial aid. So it's basically absolutely depends on universities. There are few amount of universities who offers need-based admissions, need-based scholarship, but it is more similar to a merit-based scholarship. When we talk about CSS financial aid scholarship, so there are 300 private schools which offer CSS, this financial aid, need-based financial aid, and this is created by the College Board. This aid, you have to go to the College Board website, and the form is available, CSS form is available, which you will going to fill and submit for different universities which you have applied to. College Board is not having any role in monetary terms to this particular financial aid, but that's the website which you have to follow. Coming up to the form, this is a long and detailed form wherein you have to, your parents especially, need to fill in this form, because this form requires the financial information of all both your working parents or family members who are earning any kind of income, and they have to disclose their last 2 years income on this particular form. So both the profile form and worksheets are found on the College Board website. That's I have already told. College Board charges $25 for first submission and then $16 for additional school which you will going to apply for. This CSS profile must be completed annually. So basically, when you are applying, you have to check out what all universities are member with the CSS profile. You have to also check that all the universities member on CSS profile not necessarily provide the financial need-based financial aid scholarship to international students. So there is a proper table given on College Board wherein you will check that these are the universities offering financial aid to international students, and then you pick up the university over there and then fill the forms accordingly. All the universities, they will ask for different documents once you complete and submit the CSS profile, and that documents will also be available on your College Board website on your CSS account as well. There are different due dates. So make sure that you are checking the dates, like you check the dates for the university applications. The deadlines vary from university to universities. So is the CSS profile deadline varies. You are applying in early action, you are applying in early decision, you are applying in regular deadline. That varies. The due dates varies from different deadlines as well. So while doing the application, make sure that you are well aware of the deadlines and then submit the application timely. I would like to share the data of scholarship received by international students 2018-2019. This data is taken from US News, and these are few top ranked universities which are listed down here. Dennis has already shared few of the universities in his presentation. So you can see that it's not like that if the university is costing us $50,000 or $60,000 or maybe $70,000. You talk about public universities. Public university without scholarship for an international student may cost from $50,000 to $60,000 approximately. The cost of attendance, I'm not talking about the hidden cost. If you'll talk about private universities like Cornell, Princeton, for international student, they may cost up to from $60,000 to $70,000 per annum. So it's not like that we will not able to get through the university, or maybe we will not able to attend the university because of the cost, because of the level of the debt which you're going to consider. But yes, there are chances wherein you can do a good application, submit good application, and apply for the available scholarships at the various universities. Dennis also mentioned about USA that the universities also offer scholarship based on the talents which you have. So there are universities who represents themselves in football, in tennis, in boxing. So while researching on the university and based on what talent you have, you can apply to those universities who are actually presenting themselves in different sports. And if you apply to those universities, then the chances are that you will get a higher amount of scholarship. Moving on to scholarship options in UK. Unlike USA, you can't apply for merit aid. In UK, you can actually apply for merit aid. So UK goes like wherein they will offer you the acceptance letter, they will give you the admission, and then there are different university scholarship, outside scholarships which are available for the students who can apply. So there is a proper application, maybe an application form, or a university will going to ask you to write some essay, or university will ask you to explain that why you need financial aid. So basically you have to submit something or the other to the university to get through the scholarship. There are few examples of UK scholarships which are available. You can see UK scholarship for British Council is there. So British Council offer every year scholarship from £3,000 up to £10,000 to the students who are taking IELTS test and submitting and applying to the scholarship, this particular scholarship. So based on your application, you may receive the award. Another scholarship which is of $9,000 per academic year. Again, this scholarship is offered for all the international students who will going to study in London. Bristol University Scholarship. All the universities in UK, they are having their own scholarship, different scholarship of different amount. So while selecting the universities, and you can apply for multiple scholarship, but once you will receive a scholarship for one, you will not able to avail the another scholarship which you have applied for. So you really have to look through that what all scholarship, what is the amount of the scholarship, how much you are eligible as per the requirement of the scholarship, and then take the decision to apply to the final scholarship, which is available on different UK universities websites. So once you will get the acceptance letter, then is the time to appeal to the universities in UK for scholarship. There is Gcse Smart Scholarship as well, which is available for undergraduate students. I have just listed 4 or 5 scholarships for you, but there are n number of scholarships available at UK universities websites. UK universities also offers you discounts or bursaries, not scholarships, but there are early bird discount, there are bursaries, which are basically if you are enrolling yourself at the university sooner. So the moment you get the decision and there is a deadline that if you'll accept the offer by this particular date, you will get this amount of scholarship. So you can also avail that scholarship if you are interested. Scholarships option in Canada. There is a Canada Government Scholarship, ASSR scholarship, which is fully funded scholarship. There is an application required for that. Definitely, when it comes to Canada, it's like all the scholarship, most of the scholarship, I would say, are available for the students who are having 90% and above in their academics. So 90% I can consider in CBSE, IB 0.77, 6 and between 6 and 7, and so on and so forth. So if you're looking for Canada, again, each university, University of Toronto, Waterloo, like this Western Ontario University, there are different scholarships available. Western Admission Scholarship, Western Scholarship for Distinction, Western Scholarship for Excellence, and the amount varies from 2,500, 3,500 to 8,000. So you can apply to these scholarships which are available on the website. There are other innovator scholarships. You can see the initial scholarship in the academic year 1 is $20,000, and the renewable value in academic year 2 to 4 is $10,000 per year. So this scholarship will approximately cover up your whole tuition fees if possible. So apply, go through the university's website, research more and more scholarship. We will going to share the resources which are available with us, wherein you can research on the scholarship. The scholarships are available across the globe. Whichever country you look for, scholarships are available. Most of our students are now looking for the other parts of Europe. Germany is the most popular one because of definitely financial aid available by the public universities. So there is no tuition fees actually if you're going to German universities, but it varies from program to program. So students, parents, they keep coming to us asking for different programs and asking that they want to go to Germany because there is no tuition fees. It's not actually correct, because it varies by program, it varies by universities, it varies by what you are doing here, what kind of curriculum you are studying here. So there are different other factors, but definitely Germany is one wherein if you are getting into public university, you are having all the content, all the requirements satisfying in your profile, then definitely you do not have to pay any tuition fees and you just go with the living expenditure of Germany. But there are other scholarships which are available. In Europe, if you'll consider specifically, there are scholarships by citizenship. So the students who are from Saudi, from UAE, from Kuwait, they are having different scholarship for different nationality, I would say. So all the options available for different nationalities are also available on German universities. Merit-based scholarship for international students enrolled by University Hamburg, Unitec International for RWATH Aachen University. So you can see the list which I have created just to make you ensure that whichever university you are applying to, you have to do a good research, figure it out what scholarships are available, figure it out what is the cost of attendance of the university, and then make your list to apply to those universities. To name few, the European countries which I have mentioned is Germany, France, and Ireland, but there are other set of countries across the globe which are offering scholarship to the bright international students. Australia, New Zealand, any country you name for, all the countries would be having these scholarships for international students. There are few resources which are available here for USA, UK, Canada, Germany, Ireland. This presentation you will going to receive, it would be available on MPTU website, and you will going to receive this presentation, and you can make use of these resources and understand what kind of scholarships you can apply for and are eligible for. Any questions I can answer for you? What is EFC? It's the estimated family contribution, that how much your parents will able to pay. Okay. Okay, so if in case you have any questions related to any country, financial aid, okay, do they consider the number of attempts for SAT? That depends on university to university, because when you'll go to College Board for your score reporting, some universities accept super scores, some universities accept only one best score. So if the whatever university is asking for, based on that, they will going to evaluate your number of attempts. We suggest all our students that you should not take more than 2 attempts. Maximum should be 2. Try to achieve the desired score in first attempt if possible, but you can retake it once at least. Scholarship in their. Okay, how can Gcse help for financial aid? So it's like any curriculum. It's not about that curriculum will get you through this financial aid. Curriculum is the requirement for the university to showcase your academics there. It's basically how you performed in that particular curriculum will going to help you achieve the scholarship. Would it be possible to apply for a scholarship in the later years of university? Definitely it is possible, and you will get many opportunities in the university once you will perform. There are students who do not get scholarship in their first year while getting the acceptance from the university, but once they go there, perform in the university, help their professors, there are n number of opportunities available in the form of scholarships, stipend, research, teaching assistantship. So you will definitely able to apply for the scholarship in your later years. As in, can the student ask for scholarship in there? Yeah, I have already answered that. Can I provide maths and English scores for different attempts? Yes, you can provide if the university is okay with taking multiple attempts. As I mentioned, like University of California, all the campuses, they specifically say that they need scores from only one attempt. But there are other universities like Georgia Tech, Purdue, and so many other universities who are considering super score. What would the approximate grades required be though? Same as CBSE or, I mean, for it depends on the university you are applying to, because each university is having different academic requirement. So definitely if you're looking at the top 10 universities, you should be somewhere 3.5 and above GPA, which is approximately 95% and above in CBSE. But if you're applying to a second tier university or third tier university, then you may hold chances of getting the scholarship even with 80-85%. Okay, so I guess that's it. If in case you have any further questions, you can send email to acs@score-plus.com and we would be happy to answer your queries. Thank you so much for attending the webinar. Dennis, would you like to say something?
I just want to ask if there are any further questions, either about ACS or the SAT, or both. Going once, going twice, going 2.5 times. All right. Thank you guys for attending. What is this?
No doubt.
No doubts. Okay, excellent, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Be safe. Thank you.